We're at the 25th CROI. We're here with Baetin from the University of Washington, and he's going to talk, well, the other day you had a presentation that you presented at the press conference on the delivering ring, and I think we'll start out with that because I know you want to talk about PrEP briefly as well. So let's start out with that, set us up on that one.
Great, and thanks for having the conversation again. So 2 years ago at CROI, right here in Boston, the results of 2 phase 3 trials, Aspire and the Ring study, showed that the dapivirine vaginal ring, a ring that releases an antiretroviral that protects women against HIV, those results showed that it was safe and well tolerated and reduced HIV risk by about 30% in those 2 studies. You know, it's so with that, the ring entered the same kind of pathway that we've got going with PrEP now. And like what happened with PrEP, the phase 3 study was then followed by open label extensions. And so at CROI this week, the interim results of 2 of those open label extension studies are being presented. One of them, which is HOPE, the follow-on study to Aspire. And what we're finding in HOPE is what we were hoping to find, that women are coming into HOPE all of whom had been in Aspire, and now we can say to them, you know, in Aspire this was placebo controlled and we didn't know if this worked and we think it's going to be safe, but we don't have the full safety data yet. Now we can say, we know it reduces HIV risk and we know it was well tolerated. Would you like to use it? And we see more than 90% take it up at baseline. We see that adherence is quite high from the measures of adherence that we can objectively look at. And most importantly, we are seeing an HIV incidence that's less than half of what we expected it to be, showing that it's having real impact for the women, for women who are having access to it. This is exactly what should be seen when you go from the phase 3 studies to the open label extension, that use is better in HIV protection is being reinforced.
So the issue, or I think we talked with Zita as well, the fact is that women see that it kind of like snowballs up the hill, so to speak, because we find people are finding it works, they know it works, and so for that reason they're even more concerned about actually using it properly. How can I guess the word is optimize the benefit from this? Well, use it appropriately, use it effectively, and use it as appropriately as you can, because it is going to work.
Right, that's absolutely right. It's a totally different conversation to be able to say, this is an effective HIV prevention strategy, and someone who's going to be taking that saying, oh, I know what I'm getting now, and I know that I can benefit from this. Help me figure out how to use it best. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing real engagement in wanting to use this now demonstrated effective product.
Right. And also understanding that this is only for protection for HIV.
Correct.
This is there are the other STDs, there's other issues, there's pregnancy, whatever. You have to figure out what is your objective. And then use those things that are going to do what it needs to what needs to happen.
That's right.
So that's exciting, and I think that was broadcast is one of the better outcomes of this conference, or pieces to hang on to, you know, from the conference. So it's great that we did that. It was all over the listservs, so to speak, as you probably well know. So it's as the folks have put it out there. So we're going to be in a position to get it out to more of the public, because they don't watch all these nerdy listservs, but it is really very, very practical information. So it's great news. So one more thing that the women can have for the Me Too movement.
It's a new choice, because what people want for prevention is they want options, and so the pills for PrEP are first. The ring is lagging behind that a few years, and hopefully in another few years here at CROI we'll have even more options, so that people can make the choice that works for them, and everybody's got something that's going to work for them.
And you're going to have more data too on this, right?
Oh yes, absolutely. The dapivirine ring's only partway through this process to showing its total impact. We are on the way.
And Zita was really concerned that we make sure that people understand this is still being researched. So we're still learning more information.
This is still being researched. This is still, it is under regulatory review right now to be able to be licensed. But all of these data contribute together to getting it on the pathway it should be moving to, so that it one day, hopefully, will be truly accessible.
Great. And now that's a segue right into PrEP. and what it is that you feel would be worthy of discussion at this point.
Well, it is first of all, it's just the great parallel, of course, because where the pivoine ring is now is where PrEP was 4 or 5 years ago, right? So transitioning from the phase 3 trial to the open label extensions, and then PrEP, of course, now has gone to demonstration projects like PROUD, which had such great results, and some of the studies from the United States, and the Partners Demonstration Project that we did, and now into implementation. And there's lots of great PrEP stories here, and I think the first one is just that PrEP is now part of the normal conversation at these, and the wanting of PrEP, that communities want PrEP, that individuals want PrEP, and that the barriers and the questions are breaking down all of the time. There's still not enough access, and that's there's still not enough access everywhere in this country, in this city, and certainly across the world.
And places in greatest need.
And places in greatest need. And that's my major takeaway is that stop throwing up the scientific barriers, because those have been addressed. The major barrier is when there is access, people want it and people benefit from it. The major scientific breakthroughs in PrEP, I think, are the ones on the spectrum to impact are now we're starting to see impact from PrEP. And the thing that made me thrilled yesterday were the data from New South Wales, from Sydney, from Australia, where they started a demonstration project in a country where there was no PrEP access. They started PrEP access. They opened up a little under 4,000 slots for PrEP. They hit that target in no time at all and had to essentially double the number of slots available. And now, a year after that was implemented, they see already a third reduction in new HIV infections in the community. And essentially no infections in people taking PrEP, but actually no infections in people taking PrEP, but a 30%, 32% reduction in the community at large. If you make PrEP available to people, you change the course of the epidemic.
It's like Sag says, the drugs that work are the ones that people take.
That's right.
And it will work if they take it. It will work if the community takes it.
Right.
And then we were also talking about clusters of needs. So I think that's something we should address too with PrEP. Well, with probably everything, with messaging. But the most important thing I think with PrEP is messaging properly. And the kids seem to do it. The young folks are really out there smart. They're in the trend. They pass the word. It travels like wildfire. And the kids that know that they need it probably will find ways to get it. And if they can't, they're going to let people know.
Well, that's what needs to happen. People need to let people know if they can't get it, because there's need, clearly, there's desire. It's getting the drug, getting the PrEP, so that people can have the benefits from it. There's one of the sobering pieces of data from yesterday was Dawn Smith from the CDC talked about the disparities in PrEP, in PrEP need and in PrEP uptake in this country, in the United States, and of course it's mirrored across the world. There are populations that have real need for HIV prevention who aren't taking PrEP right now, but I'd say it's not because they don't want it, it's because it's not available to them. And so the continued advocacy on all of our parts, so that people get the access, so they can get the prevention.
This is where we need the activists within the health departments and within governmental institutions. And I'm going to Capitol Hill and fighting for assault weapon bans, but I might as well drag some more literature along. You've got to pound it home, because and the best people to pound it home are the ones that are newly infected and who wouldn't have had to have been if they'd had access. Those are the people who say, I wouldn't have had to have this disease if I could have had access to PrEP.
That's right.
And so I'm going to try to encourage people to do that, to get on the ball, demand what you need. It is available. It is, and there's also access programs. So there should be a way for everybody to get it.
That's right. Talk to your friends. Help your friends along. Everyone help each other figure out how to find it and then how to take it well, because you cannot get HIV. You can prevent yourself from getting HIV with PrEP. This is such an opportunity.
It's very doable.
And we all have to advocate. We all have to advocate, including the scientists.
Right. Well, I think we've answered the questions. Now, if we can have the people address them in their own individual ways, that'll be the answer.
Great. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for being here.